We all know the Methow Valley for its majestic beauty, and it's just the physical surroundings that make it so special. After an event like this, you really come to value what it means to be a part of a community that thinks about the issues that are central to this recovery process, and where there are so many people invested in ensuring that the landscape heals, that we find better ways to be good stewards of the land, and that our community is actually stronger coming out of a fire like this.
So in July of 2014, 4 lightning strikes started what became the Carlton Complex fire, burning more than 300 homes, and at the time was the largest wildfire in Washington state history. 1 year later, in August of 2015, more lightning started more fires in Okanogan County, and the Okanogan Complex fire burned more than 300,000 acres.
One of the real silver linings of these events back to back really is highlighted by that interconnectedness and the community coming together and reaching across divisions that may have existed previously, and realizing that our love for this valley, our love for the Methow and the land and the people who call it home really is the common denominator that unites us all. And when our work is based in that, we can then begin to really accomplish all the work that's needed to fully recover, both on the landscape and in our community.
And a great example of that was the seed mob that we hosted in both 2014 and in the fall of 2015. We realized soon after the fires that much of the landscape would naturally recover. Many of the areas that burned are areas that are meant to burn. Not so much near the home sites, but on the general open landscape. There are areas that are set up and able to recover from that. But lots of areas were disturbed by humans in an effort to fight the fire, which was absolutely necessary, but left the ground and the land fragile and up for invasion by weeds and other things as it tried to recover. We wanted to do something to make a difference on the ground, and we also recognized that there were literally hundreds of people who so loved this place, whether it's their home or just the home of their heart, that they felt a need to do something on the ground and to give back to this place that's given so much to them. So we had the idea of a volunteer day to spread seed, and honestly I think we thought about 20 people would show up, and instead close to 100 people came. And that day and the day that happened also in 2015 were these really deep days of reflection, I think, for people to realize how much a place like this can mean to you in your life, and what our role as humans is in helping to care for it.
I'm Fern Rosenblatt, and my connection to the Okanogan, and specifically this property, began when I met my husband, Roger Rosenblatt. What I inherited in this relationship was a very primitive log cabin that was built without any power tools, that was 350 square feet big, that included the loft, and had no glass windows in it. And it was the love of our life. You know, it was our opportunity to live in Seattle and be back to the land. And we were tree huggers and very typical of people of our generation and our education. And this became the heart of our family. because it was the place that we came to where our family was really closely together, and we just learned about this forest together. We started an annual field day where we brought natural resource specialists out, and we taught the students about hands-on forest ecology, stream ecology, history of the land, birds, soils, and we did that until the fire of 2015. My husband passed away in December of 2014, and we had a memorial service on this property on what would have been his 70th birthday on August the 8th, 2015. And our friends from the Okanagan joined us, and we sat out here and told our story. The kids told their stories, and friends told their stories and connections. And 10 days later, the property burned. Since then, we've been working very closely with Mother Nature and trying to support her process for natural regeneration. We did a salvage logging in January and into February a little bit, and only logged about 140 acres of the property because we didn't want to get up on the steep areas, and as you got higher there were fewer trees anyhow. There were a couple reasons. One is that one was safety and one was health. So from a safety perspective, all of the trees that we had up on this property could be weapons of destruction as we went through. And so over the years they would be falling down, and we'd have sort of like a pile of matchsticks to be able to get through to do any work on the property. The other reason was that I wanted to get some of the fuel off of the property. I didn't want to see another fire come through here. You know, I had large numbers of natural resource professionals, people that we had worked with over the years, and some people we hadn't, that came out to give me some advice or some suggestions, and a wildlife biologist that helped us think about how can we still maintain our goal of for the property for wildlife habitat. When I started the salvage logging, I was staying in a neighbor's house while it was going on, and I came up the first morning, and they were just finishing a cut on a Papa ponderosa pine along the road, and the tree was down, and the logger was standing there, and because he had cut it with a chainsaw and not the modern equipment. And I walked up and I looked at it, and I had to turn around and walk down the road because I just sobbed. That tree was the tree that Roger and I used to comment as we always drove up our road to get to our place about, look at that tree. I mean, that is the quintessential Grandpapa ponderosa pine. And we did it. We helped to do that. And that tree was down on the ground. So, you know, you release it and you say, you know, Mother Nature is going to continue with this. It doesn't take away the sadness and the fact that he's not here and that tree's not here. But I truly feel privileged to be able to be a part of this regeneration, and a regeneration of his spirit here. Yeah. You know, I realized that the most important thing that we did about this land was to put a conservation easement on it. I mean, we were the, I think, second voluntary conservation easement that the Methow Conservancy had accepted. And we were all learning together. John Adams and my husband Roger would sit down with their various copies of conservation easements that they had put together. And so you've got two academics that have to have lots of information. It needs to be scientifically based and, you know, developing these conservation easements. The Methow Conservancy staff has been my cheering section this year. I mean, they kept saying to me, "Oh, you're just doing a great job. You're doing a great job, Fern. You know, I just can't see how you've gotten this done so far." And I said, "What do you mean, guys? You guys are the ones that are just go, 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 Fern. What can we do? What can we do? What can we do?" So I think we made a pretty good team. I went back and forth as to whether I could handle that or not. Then I finally realized that, you know, I needed to be able to be here and I needed to be comfortable, and I really wanted to have a place that I could call home. And so I decided to do that, and to that end I went and we wound up with about 100 logs on the property that didn't get to the mill. And so I hired a portable bandsaw owner, and he came out in the end of November and milled those logs, and so we'll put them in the house. And I'm sitting on the timber right now. This hump right here is timber that's covered, and so we'll use that timber in building the new house, which warms my heart. Yeah, it does. It does.
The Methow Valley has always been a great place for education and for natural history and for learning for people of all ages. But after these two fires, that's even more true. And issues like forest health, landscape restoration, what it means for our watershed, there are literally dozens of opportunities for not just our community, but really every community in the West to learn about how we can best manage and care for the lands that we love, and also what it means to be a good steward through this process of restoration and renewal.